everyone. I hope you're enjoying another great summer of golf on ABC TV. And starting up in 2 weeks' time, the first of 3 consecutive tournaments about as good as you could wish to see. The Australian Open at Royal Sydney, the Bicentennial at Royal Melbourne, immediately followed by the World Cup, also at Royal Melbourne. Speaking of which, who could ever forget last year's dramatic Australian Open on the great composite course? Not only did it feature 2 of the world's best in Greg Norman and Sandy Lyle, but also US PGA champ Larry Nelson. We saw Greg Norman at the height of his powers, winning by a record margin. And, of course, the extraordinary controversy on the Sunday on the 3rd green that saw the tournament temporarily abandoned and extended into the Monday. All in all, a memorable 5 days of golf that we thought you might like to enjoy all over again.
Well, we watch the 3rd hole now, and this is the drive and a pitch hole. You see, this is the drive of Norman. To this point, he could just about throw it on with his left hand from there. But a little easy pitch, if we can call it easy. He lofts it high. Oh, and it sits down beautifully. Just trickles down to the cup. Oh, an ounce more and he would have been in. And now Lyle in the better position, really, to make his pitch into the slope of the green. Oh, that's a beauty. Well, there they are, the 2 champions there, side by side, with very short birdie putts. Just the shortest of putts for Norman. And look at that. Couldn't miss it, could he? No, he didn't. So that's a birdie for him there. He goes into the red at 1 under.
Peter O'Malley up at the 14th with this putt for an eagle 3. Finished beautifully in Adelaide a couple of weeks ago, played great golf, and drops it. Oh, great 3. Now Western Australian Wayne Smith.
Just 1 stroke from the lead, Brian, at 4 under. Just remembering now that he did start this afternoon. I think it would appear as if the afternoon players are going to have similar conditions as those that went out this morning.
Yes, the weather is probably moderated just a little bit, and the breeze has changed direction, more south, starting the day out more westerly. There's a slightly into the breeze, blowing left to right. Long second shot, at least a 3-iron, no less.
Well, I can tell you that Mike Ferguson earlier today, Brian, held a 3-iron for an eagle 2 here. He had 205 yards it would be to the flag.
Holy snakes. And our championship leader, if he can hold this putt. Terry Price, the Queenslander, this to save power at 13. Looking good, looking good. Oh, a little bit of extra speed would have held that line. So he'll slip back to equal leader with Wayne Smith at 4 under.
And back to the 18th with joint championship leader Wayne Smith. This putt to complete his round in 68. Sorry, he started at the 11th, so this isn't his final hole. This is a tricky putt he's got coming down and across the slope, just a little from right to left. So that'll be a bogey for Wayne Smith if he can negotiate that little putt there.
He just completely misread the line. He put on the left lip jack and he just kept going.
So a disappointing dropped shot for Wayne Smith. Drops from 4 under back to 3 under.
Now Davis. And this for a birdie at the 12th. Oh, that just curled off. Well, there is a slope there. He didn't allow enough. And a golden chance went begging. At that point, he was just even par. Now here's Rafferty at the 12th. No mistake, he got his par. 12th being the 18th of the West, right by the clubhouse. Now here's our leader, Terry Price. He's paced with an enormous long second shot here at the 18th. And, to add to his problems, he's in the rough. Not really British Open rough, but it's just enough to annoy. And he's He's got the wind in his face, and he's got to come right across that big trap. Let's see what he's made of. A bit of Tom Watson in him. Well, that's pretty good from there. That's a fine shot. Full marks for that. Now let's see it again. Now this is a very good swing. And nice and upright. Watches the ball as he strikes it. Nice high finish. As I say, reminiscent of Tom Watson.
5 under par. Par here of 72 at Royal Melbourne. 35 out, 37 back. Birdie putt, Terry Price, final hole, and he's 5 under. This to go 6. Looking good. Oh! Gee, what a great try that was. And that's a hell of a 4 from the right-hand rough, as Peter said. Very difficult second shot he had.
What a round. 67 for Terry Price of Queensland, who leads the championship. He walks off the 18th green by 2 strokes.
Well, now let's have a look at Bradley King at the 14th. This is par 5. This is his 3rd shot. Nice pitch, just to the front. Now, he expected a firmer bounce than that.
And he's got this pretty long birdie putt. The cup is cut 11 metres from the front of the green. So you can see he's got a putt of probably around about 8 to 9 metres. Like we know, he's got to aim to the left of the cup. It's a case of how much. Ideally, pick your line, be almost that marker there, live or die by it, and concentrate solely on the timing of the putt to make it go the right distance. Birdie putt for Brad King, young Western Australian. Got a good roll going, get up. Oh, perfect, aimed right at that coin, and that's a very, very satisfying putt.
Greg Turner putting for a birdie at the 8th. I was watching him hit some balls on the practice tee last night, Brian, and he's been working pretty hard on his swing, and he's been a little bit quiet the last 12 months. Had a couple of great seasons in Europe. I remember he won the Scandinavian Open, and he really looks to be swinging very much better than I've seen him for a while, so I'm not surprised that he's doing well at 2 under.
Yes, he'd be thinking he'd be overdue too, as Ogle puts for his birdie. And at last, good boy, Brett Ogle. He turned pro at the same time as young O'Malley did.
Now that's Gordon Brand. Just a few moments ago. 4-3. Oh, if you don't mind. So Gordon Brand Jr. opens the championship with a 1 under par round of 71.
Okay, now Turner with this long birdie putt of the night up the hill.
Give the inspiration you got from your caddy.
That's what it was. Gets it. Oh, boy. Anytime you birdie one of these holes, that's a great occasion.
Now Wayne Smith, who's going very well, he's 3 under. This for a birdie. He's held a couple of nice putts the last 2 holes, so he's obviously reading the greens well. An outside chance, I'd suggested a birdie coming up the slope, so he can give us a good solid rap at the cup. Swing a little bit from his right to left to start with, and then I think it goes back right at the hole.
And that's what you call keeping the pressure on yourself, isn't it? And a run at the birdie, and all of a sudden now it's defending par. So I suppose the one advantage of having run it by the hole, you would have gotten some idea of the slope and the way the ball performed. It'll be identical on the backtrack. Still gives you a fair idea. Now, Smith over this very important 1.5 metre putt to save his power on his final hole, the 10th. Bradley King lining up his putt for birdie.
And that's a fine round of 69. Tied for second, the Western Australian Wayne Smith.
Now Bradley King with this putt for birdie 4 at the 17th. Remember, he's 2 under. And got it. Great putt, Bradley King.
So he joins the log jam at 3 under, tied for second, just 2 strokes behind the leader, Terry Price.
Greg Turner. Really moves back through the ball very well with the lower half of his body. And a fine shot. Good chance of birdie for Greg Turner to go to outright second.
Harwood for par at 18. Right across the green. A little bend will be from right to left, so he's starting this about on the right lip, I would think. Beautifully done. Hit nice and firmly and held his line well.
Good opening round of 70 for the 86 PGA champion Mike Harwood.
He's going very well. He's 3 under. And I think what he needs to do here is just aim this for the centre of the green and let the breeze work the ball back towards the stick. He's hit such a big drive here. It looks to be nothing more than a 7 or even an 8 iron here for Bradley King. Oh, fine shot right over the top of the flag. It looks pretty flat on your screen there, but there's a big slope from back to front here, and he's coming straight down the slope. Should swing a little bit from left to right. And a pretty good lead there from Bradley King. I think we can just about give him that one.
Now, birdie putt, if you can call it that, for Norman, and he would be, I would think, the best part of 18 metres there. And he must putt up the step onto the higher level of the green. And in the old days, you saw many a person 3-putt from there. Up it comes. Oh, it's on line. Look out! Oh, it's in!
Goodness me.
Another birdie.
Oh, 3 birdies in the first 4 for Norman. So he stands at 5 under. And now just 3 lead by Terry Price.
Now let's have another look at this phenomenon. This is Terry Price at the 7th. Now, nice little par 3. Uphill. 8 iron. Nice, neat shot that. Oh, look at... Oh, wonderful shot. My word. He's quite a sensation, this boy.
Right, earlier on today, this is the second shot at the 11th to this very exciting young man from Bathurst in New South Wales. Oh, and a beautiful shot from Peter O'Malley at the 11th. That putt for 3.
Now, putting at the 18th, Rafferty. It's a lot more careful, and it's in. What a beautiful birdie. Oh, look at the smile on his face. Well, Peter O'Malley, earlier this morning, this was his chance for a birdie at the 11th. Young man from Bathurst. Oh, that's a nice stroke. Oh, well done. He picked the speed beautifully there. So 6 under is Peter O'Malley. Well, let's have a look at Wayne Smith. And here he is on this par 5 in 2 shots, so putting for an eagle. This hole in other years has been a par 4, but it's been extended a few metres, so it's really strictly a par 5, although a short one. An eagle putt coming straight at it, but just not enough punch. Oh, we'll give him that, I think. He's near enough. Just a putt about half a metre. And that's a nice birdie. Well deserved. 2 good shots onto the green there.
Now Greg Norman driving the ninth, the breeze with him. He's going with his driver, so this fella could run himself out of fairway unless he hugs the left-hand side pretty tight, so he wants a really good shape of tee shot here to keep it in the fairway. Yes, that really is a walloper. It's gone through to the right-hand side of the fairway, and that'll bring the traps down the right-hand side of the green into play a little. Let's see if the shark can sink his teeth deep on this one. A little more than a 5 or 6 iron for Norman. Super shot, Greg Norman. Top class.
Well, now we're going to show you the last hole that Terry Price played this morning. And this is his second shot. Now, he used a shorter club from the tee. He was the first to play the second shot around about 180 metres. Nice looking swing it was too. And look at this. Oh.
Well, you saw the indications into that bubble and jumped about all over the place. But really, that was bad luck for Greg Norman there.
Now we saw the second shot of Terry Price, and this is his putt for a birdie.
Oh. So a great second round, 69 for Terry Price after 67 yesterday. After 36 holes of the National Panasonic Australian Open Championship, Price the leader at this stage anyway at 8 under par.
Wayne Smith at the 18th, long putt for birdie, up the tier there and then on down to the cup. And a pretty good lead from Wayne Smith. And now the second shot of Greg Norman. 15th hole. A fine shot from Norman. Green sloping there from the bunker back towards the stick, and they're just checking back off the slope. Good chance for yet another birdie for Greg Norman. Oh, magnificent shot from Sandy Lyle. So Norman and Lyle with great chances of birdies.
George, you've got it.
Oh, you beauty.
So
George
Sirhan, 6 under. Tied for third with Greg Norman at 6 under par. Well done, George. He has 3 to play.
Lyle for birdie. Well, you can just see that he's lost his confidence altogether with the putter. I think it should move a little from his right to left. Downhill, so I don't think there'll be any problem about him reaching the hole. It's a matter of getting the right line. Notice again he putts from the toe of the putter because it's downhill.
And that has the effect of deadening the blow, so he feels like he can hit this a little more firmly and it won't race past the hole. Beautifully holed.
Greg Norman on the par 5 17th. If he can green this and make an eagle, he could jump to outright lead. Not a scrap of divot, just swept it off the top nice and high. Look at it, look at it. Look at that for an absolutely top-class shot. What a super-duper shot that was.
That's a pretty good effort, but not near enough to give him a 4. Okay, now he's aiming well left, as is his technique. But in this case, he's allowing for the slope of the green as well. Now, will it curl enough? Well, look at that. My goodness me. Well, we knew it would turn right, but none of us knew how much it would turn right. This for a birdie. Oh, he got it. Well, great joy for Scotland. That's the only putt, I believe, that he has holed today. I think he's 2-putted every other green, except for one that he 3-putted. Nothing very remarkable about this, just a straight-in putt of 1/2 metre. No problem. So he joins Price at the top of the leaderboard at 8 under. Now the 6th, Terry Price. 3rd shot. Very neatly done. That's a beauty. Well, a sort of scramble there to get par, but not unsound.
Now here's the putt of Jerry Anderson. He'll do well to get this down in 2. Birdie putt at the 7th for Jerry Anderson. He's 5 under. Tied for 4th. That's very well done indeed by Jerry Anderson.
Now, see if Smith can do as well as that. I'm not sure yet whether he's chipping it or putting it. Well, he's putting. He's got to putt through that rather rough apron there, and then up onto the edge of the green, down the hill and turning right, turning left, leaving the flag in the cup as Anderson putts in for his par. Now, will it stop? Well, it nearly went in, and it has stopped about 1 metre. It was a good effort. We've seen some very good long approach putting from him today. Nice stroke.
Well hauled. Fine 3. O'Malley 6 under, 4 behind Norman, but now tied for 3rd with Terry Price.
Now Norman with yet again another chance to go ahead. This very holeable putt for a 2. No mistake about that. That's a fine putt. Another birdie. He goes to 11 under. And is he racing away with it? Wayne Smith. Now this is a nasty putt for a par. Left lip, I would guess. Well, he didn't hit it hard enough. Poor putt, really. That's a 5 for him.
Came back to Ron Wood, second shot at the 9th. This long par 4. Ship of around about 160 metres to the hole, back into the breeze. And a good shot.
And that's a par 4 for Price. Remains at 6 under. Ian O'Malley and Wayne Smith sharing second place.
Greg Norman driving from the 10th. Now there's a trap out there which he needs to avoid. On the right.
Shot.
That runs through the fairway, I'll eat it.
Well, there's that bunker I was talking about.
That's a huge tee shot, Jack.
Oh, that is a monster. It's almost to the end of the bunker, which is only leaving him about 110 metres to the front edge of the green on a hole that measures 430 metres.
Now, Wayne Smith with a 6-iron for his second at the 9th. Lovely camera work to see this swing right behind. Started at the right centre of the green. And just drew away a whisker too much, but that's a fine iron shot and a good lead because that gives him an uphill try for his birdie. Terry Price. Oh, if you'd only hit it, that would have been a ripper.
Right
That
at
was
it, wasn't it?
Yeah, a few moments ago that was. Now Ron Wood to birdie 3 at 11. Hey, it's looking pretty good. Oh, yes.
Well, Brian Crafty, you said he'd get the 6 under, and he's done it.
I said that this morning, Graham.
Ronnie Wood, 6 under after 11.
Great
Now
to see
tied
him.
for second.
Great to see him back in it again. The bomber from Belair in South Australia. Expatriate Victorian. And now Peter O'Malley. Good chance for birdie. Come on, over you come. Well, you couldn't really expect it, but it would have been nice. So it's a really solid 4. Anytime you can get through 9, 10, 11 on this golf course with 3 pars under your belt, you've played pretty good golf.
Terry Price for birdie 3 at the 9th. Well done. It's a par 4 for Price. Remember, he started the day at 8 under. He's now 6, so he's a couple over for the day. It looks like he's going to hit a little 9.
Brilliant golf shot.
Take particular note that he's left the ball underneath the hole yet again.
Western Australian Wayne Smith for 3 at 9. Get over and get up.
So that's a par. And an outward half of 36 for Smith, who is 6 under and 5 behind Norman.
So Greg Norman, leader by 5. This to stretch the lead even further. A birdie putt at the 10th will move from his left to right. Oh, it's like shelling peas.
Superb birdie 3 for Norman. He goes 12 under for the championship, and now the leader by 6 strokes.
And Ron Wood approaching the 16th. Well, that was very clever, wasn't it? I wonder if he
what a shot.
He's having a wonderful day of, I don't know what you'd call it.
Oh, great golf, Peter.
I can't believe he really intended that. Now a second shot from Norman. And here where we see his mightiness, these long irons are just magnificent to watch. And he hits them hard, didn't he? Oh, look at it. Fantastic.
Ah, superb.
There it is at his best. Big long drive and a big iron, and there he is sitting near enough to eagle. Coming up the hill, trying to get a bead on the line. He did it right in the middle.
Wood 7 under. Tied for second with Peter O'Malley in the National Panasonic Australian Open Championship.
As Norman misses. Well, that's disappointing after that fantastic second shot. Well, it seems he misread it. Looks flat, but it wasn't. So we'll come to Ron Wood, facing up to his long second shot to the final hole. And he's from the flagstick about 160 metres into that, well, rather fresh southeasterly wind, blowing from left to right and half against him. Seemed like a nice swing. Well, it's just a bit left of target on the lower level.
Par putt for Peter O'Malley, which go in. Remember, we saw him push his second shot off to the right. We thought in the trap. It's out to there, and so that's a drop shot for O'Malley, and he'll go back to 6 under, leaving Ron Wood all alone in second place.
Now that's not an easy putt. He's putting up a step there. The cup on a higher level. Trying to figure out the distance and the power. No, he didn't really. Well, he got it there, but it didn't look like a very confident stroke.
Ron Wood plays the round of his life, a 67 today. That's 5 under. And after 54 holes, South Australian is 7 under for the championship. He's now second. At the moment, trailing Norman by 6 strokes.
It's a very difficult shot Norman has here to stop the ball. He's got to take it over those traps. And I'd suggest he needs to take enough club to get the ball at worst on the back edge of the green.
Let the players out, please, before you move. Please remain where you are.
Oh, it's a fine shot from Norman.
Yes, that was beautifully judged. He had to guess how much the ball would run on, and he judged that to a nicety.
Birdie putt, Greg Norman, final hole. He's on the top tier, so he doesn't have to worry about that slope.
Get him. Looked at just veered to the right at the end. Beautifully struck putt.
So that's a second successive round of 66 for Greg Norman. 14 under par after 54 holes, leading the National Panasonic Australian Open Championship by 7 strokes. So this is back to the 3rd green just a little while ago, and what brought it all to a head. ball had stopped. There were a few that hadn't, though, Jack.
Yeah, there was, and that's where I think that's. This was part of Brett Ogle. Now look at this. At least a foot past the hole and it rolls back in. A bit like mini golf. Or Star Wars golf, whatever you want to call it.
Now this was the tragedy right here.
Calandre.
That was his first putt.
Now this one of Larry Nelson's. Now he was on here in 2 and his official score given as 7. So just look at this putt. Superb putt from Larry Nelson.
He was penalised.
We couldn't see it.
For the caddy actually marking the ball before it had finished rolling.
In the end, that was the one thing which influenced the decision to call the day's playoff. Now here's a classic example there of that ball not actually coming to rest and the caddy putting the coin behind the ball and stopping it from rolling further away. So the rules specifically state the ball must come to rest before you mark it. And I think perhaps that was the real reason they've called the day's play off. Too many arguments, I believe.
Now here's the drive of the third. Now let's see how far he hits this shot. This hole is 304 metres to the middle of the green. As Lyle plays. At the 14th and just misses the target.
It's quite relative to Greg Norman's lie. The ball looks to be sitting up quite nicely. Because the green kicks left, he's going to have to pitch this ball just over the right-hand side of the trap there to get it somewhere near the flag. Well, he started on the right line. Now he'll get it to stop quick enough. Hey. Oh, very few men could have played a shot just as great as that one Greg Norman just played. Just barely cleared the bunker. And a fine result. Now Lyle. Third shot. The par 5, 14th. Good trap shot, just skittled at 3 or 4 metres by. There's a little tweak of movement away to the right. Let's see how Norman goes to his birdie putt at the third. Thank you. Smack in the heart. Norman moves to 15 under.
Birdie putt. No mistake. So that's a significant stroke.
Certainly is. Lyle 3 under.
Back to the 8th, Ron Wood's birdie putt, and he's got it.
Oh, you beauty. Well, Ron Wood 8 under par, and he's now 4 clear of Brand, holding on to 2nd place.
Here, here. Now, second shot for Brand at the 10th. And he's off on the right side of the fairway. That's a nice approach angle. What a good shot. He's a very good performer, this man. Right in the middle. Good on you, Shark, somebody said. Birdie putt here for Brand. He's climbing steadily up that list. Oh, that's a bit too much. I wonder if he can get the next.
Oh, yes.
Got it. So Lyle goes to 4 under.
And on this St Andrews Day, Sandy Lyle finds himself in second place.
And Norman has the sand iron, so he's obviously going to fly it well to the cut surface. The lie is good enough. Don't always have the choice here this week. Some of the little lies around the green have been fairly tight and pockety, and the players have to run the ball. Now, he's nipped that beautifully with the sand wedge. And a superb result. This man's in fine touch. His short game really has been immaculate this week. And great to see this super golfer return back to form.
Ron Wood with his second. He's 3 under in third place. Just got a bit untidy over the last 4 or 5 holes. Tension perhaps starting to tell. And a good shot from Ron Wood. Uphill putt for a birdie.
Well, last week, or at least 2 weeks ago, when we watched in Adelaide, we saw him miss a few of these, but been no sign of any mistakes here at Royal Melbourne. And he's got his mind right wholly on the job.
Oh,
Oh, that was a very short backswing and rather a push, but it got in by the skin of its whatever. Oh dear, well that I think is tiredness coming into his play there. Perhaps a bit defensive, and that's a very, well, shocking 3-putt there for Wood. Now Lyle, this for a 2, and it's in! Well, what a charge he's making late in the day.
Fine shot from Norman. And as he's done all week, once again, leaving the ball underneath the hole. Now, a big putt for Gordon Brand at the final hole. This putt would keep him 3 under. This putt for par. Well, he tried to get it to come from the left, and it just stayed there. So a dropped shot for Gordon Brand, and he'll go back to 2 under for the championship.
Final round of 73 for Brand. He's now tied for third with Wayne Smith. Ron Wood could jump into third place. This is for an eagle. So a birdie at 17 for Wood. Could see him a 3-way tie for third place with Gordon Brand and Wayne Smith.
Sandy Lyle also at the last hole. On safely, although a little bit short. Was most probably thinking he was going to get a little bit of a flyer out of the right-hand rough there. And Greg Norman, as we said, left it short, so he's going straight up the hill. So, as you most probably realise, Greg will be nice and firm with this, giving it a chance, which he did. A foot past the hole. You couldn't ask for more perfect pace, Jack.
Well, that's been a feature of his game all week, Roger. Been watching him all week, and his iron shots have been superb.
And I think this is why this fellow plays so well at the Masters, the US Masters. You know, they've got very, very fast greens, from what I can understand, that is. And His just touch is fantastic, and he can hit the ball so high and he can leave it underneath the hole all the time. Bob Shearer was another player from Melbourne that, you know, always did that round this course, and that's why he won so many times here.
Sandy Lyle's putt for birdie at the final hole. I think even I could get that one in.
Fine round of 70 today for Lyle. The Scot finishes 5 under par and will finish this National Panasonic Australian Open Championship in 2nd place. I think the challenge, Roger, would be there for Greg to get on in 2 here at the 17th this afternoon.
Well, I would say that Greg, with his strength, would definitely be able to get on in 2.
Wayne Smith, this big putt to save par. So a drop shot for Wayne Smith.
Wayne
Norman's second shot to the 71st hole. Well, he's just pulled a little left, but not too bad there. There's the shot that he has left.
Ron Wood at the 18th for a putt for a birdie. And he comes joint third with Gordon Brand Jr. A little bit more, and he was third by himself. I think that's a great effort by Ron, who's got a club job in Adelaide now, and I think he'd be very, very happy with that tournament.
77 his round today, and tied for third. Well done, Ron Wood.
And Greg Norman chipped back to here. This longish putt for birdie 4 would take him to 16 under. He started today 14 under. Remember, he's had 70, 66 and 66. And 2 under again today. So that's fantastic golf. 1 under today, excuse me. This putt to go 2 under. Par 5, 17th. Now Norman with this putt to save par at the 17th. One of the few lag putts which he's left himself with an awkward length second putt. Putted beautifully all week. Saves it and remains 15 under and the leader by 10. But I would think one problem he's having is with his concentration. When you're 10 shots in front, it's a nice feeling, but it's all for him just a formality. Well, let's have a look at the 18th. This great par 4. It wanders up here. See the bushes on the left? Anything going too far left in those? Long second shot today. The breeze into the players' faces and left to right. and then a green which has a big slope from back to front, and look at those traps. Beautifully bunkered hole, and averaging 4.49, almost 4.5, and just one birdie all day. Interesting to see what Norman does here. Ideally, he'd like to start this down the left edge of the fairway and just let the ball work back to the right. That's one option, or he can try and hit a low hook up here into the breeze and get maximum.
Damn it, you are a jerk. What the hell do you think we're out here for? Huh? Your fun and games or what? It's our job, you know.
Well, that is unbelievable, isn't it?
So Greg Norman with a 10-shot lead, second shot, final hole. And a fine shot from Norman. Safely on the green. See by the pace of his walk and a little bit of agitation that he wants to get this over with. You can't really see it on your screen there, but there's a huge knoll which runs between his ball and the hole, and he's got to go up over it, and then a big swing from right to left. Norman for 3 at the final hole. Well, pretty good effort from where he was under the circumstances. Now, Greg Norman, par putt, final hole. He's 15 under. This for a round of 71.
Greg Norman wins his 3rd Australian Open Championship. The final round of 71. Norman 15 under par, 273 his winning total. A record for the Royal Melbourne Composite Course to win the National Panasonic Australian Open Championship by what we believe is a record margin of 10 strokes. Norman's rounds 70, 66, 66, 71, so under par in all 4 rounds of the championship, as you just mentioned, Jack. A truly magnificent performance.
So an Australian Open to remember for reasons both good and bad. And judging by the field lined up for this year's event at Royal Sydney, we could be in for something even better. Of course, you'll be able to watch every important moment here on ABC TV, as the best that Australia has to offer tackles the strongest international challenges for many years. I'll join you again in a fortnight's time.